Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
Yeah. Listen, success is whatever you make it. If you want to be happy, you want to provide for your family.
Live.
You gotta put that work in, man. You gotta go get
Learn.
it. See, listen, this is what I tell them.
Serve.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals.
Inspire.
I go out and I go get it. How to go,
You're in the
that's
right
all I know. I
place.
don't
You're
succeed
checking
if I
out
don't breathe.
Chip
Success,
Baker,
what does it
the
mean?
Success
If I
Chronicles.
conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we have Randy Spelling with us. He is coming to us from Portland, Oregon. He's a life coach, business strategist, and a motivational speaker. Has been involved in lots, in acting, music, a lot of different things, but currently doing a life coach, business strategist, motivational speaker. So lots of great experiences that have come together that can be inspiring, motivating. And so thankful to have you on the episode with this episode of the Success Chronicles.
Thank you. It's so good to be here.
All right. Well, let's dive right into it. Talk to us about where you're from and kind of, if you don't mind, tracking your story until now.
Sure. Okay. Try and give you the abridged version here to not put everyone to sleep.
The Randy notes.
Right.
Like the Cliff notes.
Cliff notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was born in Los Angeles, California. I was born into a famous entertainment family. My father was a prolific television producer named Aaron Spelling. My sister, an actress, Tori Spelling. And I was born into a life that was probably really magical, fantastical to most people. And it was amazing. And there were things that weren't amazing, like anything else, you know?
Right.
And so, I grew up in the entertainment business, became an actor when I was a teenager, and started acting for years from about 15 until 22, and then I diverted into doing some music and owned a record label for a few years. I ran that with a partner of mine. We had an imprint on Sony and released some albums, and then I went back into acting. And in this time, I struggled with addiction and fighting my demons of the past and feeling not enough and not worthy, and getting caught up in the drama of my life. And I focused on that for too long, and it was hurtful to me. So I came to a crossroads where I literally was going to die. I mean, I to talk about this more in my book, but I was really battling addiction pretty badly, and my heart stopped a couple times. I ended up going to jail, winding up in ambulances, and finally, I just had this moment, this sort of come to God, knees on the floor moment where I said my father had passed away, and everything, just the wheels felt like they came off the bus, and I knew that I was either going to die or I had to make a change. Didn't know how that was going to happen, but I just said, if anyone can hear me, please, please, God, please, all the powers that be, help me, because I know that I'm here for more than this. I can feel it in my heart and my bones, but what my life looks like right now is not telling me that. So I need help here. And, that help came. And a few weeks later, I ended up getting clean and removing that distraction in my life, enough so to where I can properly grieve for my father. I could heal a lot of the things that I was dealing with from my past,
Mm-hmm.
and set out on a trail to find who I was and how I wanted to show up in the world. Life coaching was suggested to me. I didn't know anything about it, didn't know what it was, studied it a little bit and thought, hey, this checks a lot of boxes. This sounds pretty good. I don't know if I want to become a life coach, but why not take this course anyway? Why not educate myself? And through learning skills and tools, I started working with people for free and coaching anyone I could and learning. And I never looked back. I started a business and just kept growing that, and really worked on a lot of deep emotional things to help people gain more happiness, more freedom in their lives. And then a few years ago, something crazy happened is I really needed to grow and scale my business. And I sort of pushed business acumen and marketing and all of that. I pushed it away because it just didn't feel good. I wasn't interested in it. All right. I was only interested in the self-help and what's going to move the needle and what's going to make me feel good. And that didn't, until I needed to do it for myself. And I started studying that and working with some great people. And then my business started growing and scaling. And now I help other businesses and coaches and therapists and companies grow their business. And that was something that totally shocked me because I did not plan for that.
Oh, I bet. And like we talked about off air, it's awesome when you can do something that it's like, oh, like it shocks you, but then like you're helping others, and the focus is on helping others. And while you do that, it's amazing how we get better. It helps
Yes.
us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing how that happens. So before we go on to the next question, how was it growing up, for you and your family in the entertainment business? How was that experience?
Um, it's so funny because I do get asked that a lot, and I didn't know any different. So for me,
That's all you knew.
That's what it was like growing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in retrospect, what I can say is there were some incredible things about it. I feel really lucky that I got to witness, see, experience so much.
Yeah.
And because of witnessing, experiencing, seeing so much, part of me, what makes me me, part of my soul's journey here is, I wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted everyone to come together. I wanted everyone to feel love and give love. And it can be very confusing in the world of Hollywood and all that goes along behind the scenes. Everyone has so much and they're doing really well and they're on TV. And yet that doesn't mean that anyone's any happier. So it's really confusing as a kid who doesn't have context for these concepts, but everyone's looking at these people going, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And that they have to keep up their looks and this perception. And yet they probably go to bed at night miserable or feeling, some of the same things like, oh, I have so much, yet I'm still not happy and I need to strive for more. So it was confusing. It was a confusing world to navigate.
I think, there's several people that I've interviewed, and, one of the questions that I ask is their definition of success, and a lot of people, the first, one of the ones that's big is happiness, and you talked about, just because you have money and have all these material things, that doesn't ensure happiness.
Not at all.
And
I mean, really, Not at all. And I know it can be easy for someone to say, well, that's easy for him to say. People who have it, they can say that. It's not true. Because if you look at this, if you give someone a car, that's not going to fix their relationship.
Right.
Right? If you give someone $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, it might help to give that person more choices than they currently have. So it helps with more choice, and money helps with choice, right? There's no way around that. But that inner feeling that I feel like all human beings are really searching for, that not happiness, but fulfillment. How do I feel fulfilled on a daily basis?
Yes.
That level of fulfillment, a new car can only last. That smell of the leather can only last so long before, that high wears off of I have a new car. And, maybe that lasts for 2 weeks. Maybe that lasts for 2 months. Maybe it's a year or two. But life goes on. And when you step outside that car, right, you still have to deal with all the other problems that you're dealing with, or all the other people in your life, and navigating all of that. So money and things really, and I'm sure you see this. I see this, having done this work for 11 years now, is that money really does not bring happiness.
Yes.
It brings choice.
I like it. What's your definition of success?
It depends on the day. I mean, it changes all the time. My definition of success today would be, was I present today? Was I able to enjoy the experiences I had? Was I able to feel that I lived purposefully and made a difference?
Those three things you touched on, I have a principle that I try to live by, and my athletes that I get to coach, especially here recently, these are things that I've tried to promote to them. And I call it the SHG principle. And what's crazy is the three things you explained, like it's perfect. First is show up. You got to be present.
Have to show up.
Have a good attitude. Be thankful for what you have. And give your all. Which is basically making a difference and being fulfilling in the lives of other people.
Yes. And it's so, when you were talking, what came up for me is happiness. We tend to think of happiness as what life looks like outside for you. And really, happiness is here. It's, well, let's, I don't know if you can see me. Let's go from the heart to the head, right? Okay. Happiness is a window that goes from the top of the head right underneath your heart. That's your happiness window, because all of your happiness is contained within that. Is you could be in a storm, right? Things outside of you could look chaotic, but you could still be happy or fulfilled or feel purposeful. And that's an inside job.
That's deep. and true. That's so deep and so true, because it's your mindset, all of that, your mindset and controlling your heart and your feelings and your emotions and your actions based on all of those things as well, exactly. Help you get to that happy place. So what do you think it takes to achieve success?
What do I think it takes to achieve success? I think it takes clarity. I think it takes motivation. I think it takes drive / tenacity. And I think it takes being humble enough to make mistakes and to fail and know that that's part of the process towards success.
Mm. I've heard failing forward, fail until you succeed.
Yeah.
I've heard some of those things, but yes, failure is definitely a part of the process of
Now,
success.
and when you said success, I was actually thinking more of a business success, or
Hmm.
I wasn't defining that as an emotional state as much as an outward goal, a successful business or goal that you have. It takes all of those things. I guess it can be applied to the emotional part of success, what my definition was too. I have a quick story for you.
Yeah.
So we were at the dinner table the other night, and my wife said, I have two daughters, 7 and 5, and my wife said to my daughters, "So what did you fail at today?" And I was so shocked because that never makes it in the conversation. That's not part of our repertoire. And when I heard failure, immediately my ears went up like, "Oh, why are we talking about failure?" And I looked at her and I said, "What? We haven't discussed this. Why are we talking about this?" Right?
This
Like,
is a new tactic we
right?
use. I don't
Where
know
did this come from? What are you doing here?
about. Yeah.
And she said, I heard this great story on the radio about the woman who invented Spanx. This pantyhose and clothing line for women that I guess keeps everything in and makes things look better. I guess.
Make you
And
want to spank it.
right.
How about that?
Yeah.
Randy Spelling.
and so and so the woman who invented it, she said, "I was really lucky. I grew up in a family where my dad valued failure, and every day he would ask, 'What did you fail at?' And if we didn't have something that we told him, what he said was, 'That means that you did not try something new.'" And I had this moment. I looked at her and I looked at them, and my red flag of failure, why are we talking about failure? Don't talk about failure. It totally melted away. And I said, "Oh, I like it." And I'm so not used to doing that, but I sort of gave a little bow nod to her and I said, "Oh, okay. I'm actually going to use that with clients. I love it."
That's amazing. That is an amazing story because it just shifts the perspective. Like you said, it shifts the perspective of, you're not like, oh, failure. It's like, hey, what's up? Come on, failure. Let's go.
Exactly. It's flipping the script on
Right.
failure, because for a lot of people, I think that word, there's so much fear of
Mhm.
failure, right? And you hear that all the time. I'm scared to fail. I just don't want to fail. But we're kind of failing here and there every day. Now, I personally don't love the word fail because I don't think that there is such thing as failure. I
Mhm.
think you may not accomplish exactly what you want to accomplish, but there's not failure. Just because you didn't hit a mark, that doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that, you need to course correct, or you need to pivot to do something differently.
I like that. It made me think about basketball. You got to pivot. You know,
Exactly.
you got to pivot so you can take that shot that you want to take, or,
Exactly.
or 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 dribble in the direction you want to dribble. But if you don't pivot and go to the lane, then you won't. First of all, you don't have an opportunity to make the shot. You know,
Right,
but
right.
but then I mean, there's no way to take the shot if you don't pivot and go in the right direction.
Yes.
I love it. I love it, man. So, what are three things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
Having a family that um, having my family, my wife, my daughters. It's hard to look at that as an accomplishment, but for me, coming from where I came from and living the way I live now, in a very grounded way. I mean, I'm a really hands-on dad, and being able to spend as much time as I do with my kids and being there, that is an accomplishment to me. So yeah, that would be my number one. Number two is taking the road less traveled. Everyone, this sounds really funny to say, but it was sort of like being born to a king and being the prince, right? And it's like, oh, the path is set out for you. I mean, since I was 2 or 3, people would pinch my cheeks. So you're going into the business. Oh, you're so cute. You're going to go into the business, right? I mean, that's sort of the expectation. And I took my own way. And not only that, but I worked hard to do that. I worked hard on myself. I worked hard to build this business, and it took time, and it took energy, and it took determination, and it took failing and pivoting and working through that. And I have a successful business where I feel purposeful and give back to others and make a difference in people's lives on a daily basis. That's a huge accomplishment for me. And three is a malleable one. 3 is an unknown. I'm not sure what that third one is yet, but I feel that that's coming and unfolding as I live into it.
Oh, there it is. Thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles and, sharing your story and talking to us about life and success. Truly inspiring. A lot of deep nuggets there. What did you fail at today? Pivoting to the lane. Your happiness window. And you got me with the pinch the cheeks thing. That was good right there. That was good, man. I like that. But thank you so much, and truly appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good talking with you and being with you for this time.
Well, good deal. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode of the Success Chronicles. We'll see you next time. God bless.